Hi, I'm John Witt, and I'm all about helping you and your fellow business owners make the right moves for your business. In this next video, I'm interviewing Carolyn Gialamas. And Carolyn's the CEO of Cardea Systems. They're a growing small business here in Southern California. Now, during her Owner Insight segment, she commented that one of the things she's learned about running a business of her own is how many hats she has to wear. And let's face it, as a small business owner, you get to wear a lot of hats. And making efficient use of your time is absolutely paramount to your success. So we took Carolyn through the 3 I's of the Entrepreneur Business Principle, and this is a principle that we use to help identify where the high value tasks are, where the low value tasks are, how to prioritize those types of things so that she can be more efficient with her time. At the end of this video, Carolyn's going to identify her 3 actions, and then she's going to identify when she's going to get those things done. So get out a piece of paper and a pencil and jot down your notes. Take advantage of your opportunities. What do you think they will be? Capture the light bulb moments for Carolyn and maybe the light bulb moments for you. And I'll be back at the end of this video with your action items. So as a small business owner, let's talk a little bit about time. And we'll take you through this little coaching session here about time. And I'm going to share a little principle for you. And I think it's going to tie really nicely into your product and services as well, right? So this is called 3 I's of the Business Owner. And it follows the book, the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And he's a business coach, very successful business coach. And he wrote this book, and he talks about how there are, as somebody decides to go into business, there's 3 viewpoints, right? So the first one is where you get this idea, this concept of a business, right? And you start to think about products and services, and you say, what if, or how could I? And this is the entrepreneurial mindset. This is where business gets started. Without this, we don't get that started, right? But now you get started, right? You launch your business, off you go, and you have to look inward at the business a little bit more, and you become more of this manager, right? Let's make sure everything gets done when it's supposed to, and you say different questions, when and how much, or how many. Those are the kinds of things that this role has to do. And then you have to be real careful. And the place where I find very, very many small business owners, because they wear so many hats, right, is they get into this little spot here. This is the technician, right? This is the guy that's going bananas because he's trying to do 50,000 things, right? And this is exactly what you were talking about a little earlier, and that you have to wear a lot of hats, and you have to figure out how to do this because you literally cannot do anything and everything. So we call this the technician role. Now, in the role of business, the idea, you may have to be the technician sometimes. You may have to go do some things. I have to. When I'm running the show, I'm the technician. When I'm coaching, I'm the technician, and I have to do those sometimes. But I have to also be the manager, and I have to spend some time in that entrepreneurial role, or else I'll never, advance and grow my business to the practice that I want it to be. All right. So the issue is when and where and how. How do I do that, right? If I'm stuck in the technician mode, how do I get out of that, right? So let's talk about this. So this technician mode, one of the things you do is you make a list of all of your tasks that you do, and you say, what are the lowest value tasks, right? And you talked about outsourcing, right? Mm-hmm. So could I buy these services from somebody else for a lot less than what I want to make, right? So what are the low value tasks? And if you think about the hourly rate, for a low value task, if you were going to get an assistant or somebody come in, how much would you pay somebody like that?
Maybe $10 an hour?
Yeah.
Minimum wage?
$15 an hour, $10, $15 an hour, something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And what we know is that this is a market-driven rate. Okay? If you don't pay enough, you're not going to get somebody that will do what you need done. And if you pay too much, that's called bad business, right?
Right. Okay.
So then you have the manager role, right? And so the first place you look to outsource or to use technology to get more effective and more efficient is on these low-value tasks, right? So you have the manager role. So as the manager, right? Now, these are sort of what we call mid-value tasks, right? And if you were going to outsource these, and you had a manager that managed all your accounts and stuff like that, how much do you think you would pay a manager?
Probably $30 an hour.
Right. Yeah, 30, 35 bucks, 25 bucks an hour, something like that. Certainly more than the technician,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And this is another role that is market-driven. It was the market sets the rate for this particular role. Same rules, right? Don't pay enough, you don't get a good guy.
Yeah.
Pay too much, well, that's your problem, right? But then we take a look at the entrepreneur, right? And these are your highest value tasks, okay? And an hourly rate. Now, who sets the hourly rate for the entrepreneur, for the business owner?
The market does, doesn't it?
The business owner gets to decide what he wants to make, right? You get to decide how many products you want to sell. You get to decide what you want your business to be worth.
True.
It's 100% your choice, right? So I know you probably got a number in your head. I'm not going to ask you to share it on this video, right? But
Okay.
we're going to pick a number of $100 an hour just as a rule, because this is kind of a number, right? $100 an hour is about $200,000 a year in income, and this is the kind of number that business owners want to make.
Okay.
Why do you want to go through all the work and effort of running a business? A lot of responsibility, a lot of stuff, unless you're going to make the return that you want, right? But again, the owner gets to set this rate. So clearly, the technician role and market-driven rates resonate with Carolyn. And the reality is this resonates with the vast majority of business owners. Now let's talk about how to apply this information to your business. Okay? So here's the rule, right? So if you go down a list of all the things that you do, right, and you can go through and say, okay, so what are the low-value tasks? What are the technician tasks? You put a T next to those,
Okay.
right? And the manager tasks, you put an M next to those, right? And the entrepreneurial tasks, you put an E next to those. And the rule of thumb is this: whatever that number is $100 an hour, $50 an hour, $150 an hour. If you want to earn that kind of money, right, you have to do tasks that are worth that kind of money. Okay, now here's the exercise. Make a list of your technician tasks, make a list of your manager tasks, and make a list of your entrepreneurial tasks. For maximum effect, pause the video right now and make a quick list. It's probably not going to be comprehensive, but it will be relevant. These are the things that are top of mind today.
Fair enough.
So we all get caught in these day-to-day things, and they can be outsourced, a lot of the tasks that we do, right? But how many things will allow us to grow our business the way we want it to grow? Who gets to decide that? Can you get somebody to help you do that?
No.
I mean, so that's one of your high-value tasks.
Right.
What we find is people get stuck in the technician role. They don't spend any time in the entrepreneur role, and so they never get to grow their business to where they want to go. All right, so now that we've got a list of E tasks, M tasks, and T tasks, write down how much you'd be willing to pay for someone else to take care of those technician tasks. And just as importantly, identify how much it is that you would like to earn from your business. What is the hourly rate that you would like to have? Now, we're going to use this at the end to calculate opportunity cost. Right? So, I mean, the idea here is that spending time on your highest value tasks, and you cannot instantly snap your fingers and get rid of all the low value tasks. But you look at things like technology, and you look at things like outsourcing or, temporary services or something of that sort to move those technicians. Because if you're making $100 an hour, you can certainly pay somebody else $15 an hour.
Right. That's a big difference.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
you can do that.
Absolutely.
All right, now you've just seen the value light bulb go off for Carolyn. And let's face it, one of the most difficult things for small business owners to do is to calculate the value of change, because that's what it's really all about. What can we change today to get better results tomorrow? And as long as the return on investment is there, then we'd be willing to make the change. But if we don't have the information, then it's very hard to do that. Now, in this case, the value of change is $85 an hour. That's actually a lot. So take a minute and identify how much time you're spending on a weekly basis on technician tasks. And we're going to show you how to calculate the opportunity cost for making the change at the end of this video. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs are building their business because at some point they want to sell it, right? They're building an asset, right? In which case you're going to have technicians, you're going to have a manager and a system. And what we know when the valuation of that business comes up is that the entrepreneur role and the manager role are worth about 80% of that business valuation. Right? So the managers, the systems and the processes and the standards that you've set up, the entrepreneurs, the products and the services. Okay? But the other thing is that we know that the entrepreneur role is worth about 80% of that 80%. Right? What is that? That's products and services. So what you have to do is you have to find time somewhere along the line to work on those entrepreneurial things. But they're also the most valuable ones. So the struggle you have every day is to try to figure out, how do I get out of this low value stuff and into this high value stuff? Now, if you're thinking about that, you're actually in the entrepreneurial role. You're saying, this is how I get better, right?
Okay.
But if you're just doing the technical stuff, if you're just running around and delivering things, you're just running around and taking care of things, then you're not getting that opportunity to go to that high level. Wow, another light bulb goes off. Just thinking about getting better is entrepreneurial. It's how do I get better? How to make that? Just spending time thinking about it makes a difference. So how much time do you spend actually thinking about getting better? Is it done spontaneously, or should you allocate some time to make sure that this thinking gets done every single week so you don't get caught up in urgency and miss this opportunity? So what are your low-value tasks? What do you find yourself getting caught up in for low-value tasks?
Low-value tasks would be inputting people's contact information.
Right. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, we already talked about it, the financial end of things.
yeah, yeah. Invoicing,
Yeah,
accounting,
yeah,
bookkeeping. Okay.
right. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the small follow-up things,
Okay.
sending out emails and stuff like that.
Lots of email. Emails.
Big time
Everybody
sucker.
everybody gets buried into that. It's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. What does that spark for you in the things that you think you ought to be doing with your business? Where's the first place that you start to apply this?
Yeah, I see absolutely that that's something that needs to be applied because I spend far too much time in the technician role.
Okay.
So it would be really helpful to look at whether it's going to be using an assistant or a virtual assistant to do some of the email tasks and the maybe social media
Oh
postings
yeah.
and that kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff,
Sure.
so that way I can be more focused on the high priority entrepreneurial.
Okay. All right. So Carolyn's identified her three things: data entry, financial management, and just follow up on items. What are your three things? So what's the first thing that you think would be important to transition? And, or maybe the first thing is to study it and identify the first thing.
Right. Yeah, I'd have to take some time to figure out what is but I think there's a lot of data entry input
Okay.
that could be done by someone else.
Okay, so we've got our lists. Now it's time to prioritize. How are you going to prioritize what to transition first? Is it based on ease of use? Is it based on the greatest return on investment? Regardless of what it is, let's prioritize it so that you can take advantage of it and get it started.
Okay, 3 things for me to do. Well, sit down and write out the tasks that need to take place in my business, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
To figure out which are ones that could go off into a delegation realm.
Okay. And then prioritize. Which ones are and it could be which ones save you the most?
Which ones are E's, which
which
ones are
ones are
M's,
easiest,
which
yeah.
ones are T's, right?
Well, and then so now I get a list of T's. I get a list of those T's, right?
Right.
There's more than one of them. Don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
There is, right? But you still have to prioritize that. And so how would you prioritize it? The one that takes the most time or the one that's easiest to transition?
The one that's easiest for me to explain how someone else could do that.
Okay. So that's your first step is to getting there.
Yeah. For getting the first one transitioned. Wow. Well, we have a huge event coming up next week, so I would say it would probably be after that.
Okay. So before the end of the year?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe before the end of the month.
Yeah,
Right? 'Cause
before
we're
the
at
end of
beginning
November.
of the month right
Yeah.
now. Right.
Yeah.
All right, now you understand the principle behind 3 I's the Entrepreneur. Here are your action items. How much per hour do you want to make? Make a list of your low value or technician items and how much time you spend each week on these activities. Identify the technician rate for these tasks. How much would you be willing to pay for someone else to do these tasks? Calculate the opportunity cost. In the video example, we used $85 per hour. And prioritize your list. And list out what you need to do to make the transition occur. Look at this like a project. It's okay if your list says talk to a resource and get help. If that's the first item, that's fine. All projects need to be time-bounded. Pick a date as to when you want the transition project to be finished and allocate time for the tasks on your calendar. All right, so if you need some help identifying the tasks to make your transition or just how to build a plan, see our video series, Translating Ideas into Results. That's all about project management, how to make those things happen. You can just post a note or a question on the forum, and we'll get back to you. We're here to help.